Your chest is wrong. That's the first thing. Not pain, not yet. Just wrong. Like someone reached inside your ribcage and squeezed, then didn't let go. You're standing in the kitchen, or sitting in traffic, or lying in a hospital bed, and somewhere deep in the wiring of your body, a signal fires that you've never felt before. Your left arm goes heavy, your jaw aches for no reason, and there's this pressure behind your sternum, this deep, dull weight, like someone parked a car on your chest and walked away. You try to take a breath, and it doesn't come easy. Your skin goes clammy. Your stomach drops. And it's not anxiety, it's not nerves, it's something deeper and weirder than that. Every cell in your body just got the same memo at once. And the memo says something is very, very wrong. You reach for the counter, the railing, someone's arm. And then, right before everything tilts sideways, it gets quiet, like the emergency alarms just stopped because the building already knows it's coming down. And that is where we're going today. So yeah, we're doing this one, the big one. Not drowning, not freezing, not falling off something tall, just dying. The one thing every single human being will do, and the one thing none of us get to practice first. What actually happens inside your body? Inside your brain, in the minutes and seconds around the moment you stop being alive. Because here's what nobody tells you, and what every movie gets completely wrong. Dying isn't a moment. It's not a flat line on a heart monitor and a doctor saying, time of death, while sad music plays. It's a process, a messy, complicated, surprisingly weird process, and your body has a whole playbook for it that Hollywood has never once gotten right. Let's talk about what has to go wrong for this process to start, or really, what has to stop going right. Your body runs on oxygen, that's it. That's the whole operation. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought you've ever had is powered by oxygen getting picked up by your lungs, loaded onto red blood cells, and delivered to the roughly 37 trillion cells that make up you. It's basically a delivery service. And like any delivery service, when it stops working, people start complaining immediately. Your brain is the worst customer. It makes up about 2% of your body weight, but burns through 20% of your total oxygen supply. It's the hungriest organ you have, and it has absolutely zero patience. When the oxygen stops coming, your brain is the first thing to start failing. Within 4 to 6 minutes without oxygen, brain cells begin to die. Not all at once. It's more like a blackout rolling across a city, starting in the neighborhoods that need the most power and spreading outward. Your heart can hang on a little longer, maybe 15 to 20 minutes before the damage is permanent. But without the brain running the show, it doesn't really matter. Your heart's just sitting there like an employee whose boss left and never came back. Technically still at the office, but not doing anything useful. Here's where it gets weird though. Of people who survived cardiac arrest in hospitals, roughly 4 out of 10 remembered things from when they were clinically dead. And not vague, dreamy nonsense. Structured, coherent memories. Some described watching their own resuscitation from above the room. Some described a review of their entire life, like being shown a highlight reel from someone else's perspective. Some reported meeting dead relatives, which, honestly, is a pretty specific thing to hallucinate. You don't hear about people having cardiac arrest and hallucinating about filing their taxes. It's always the dead grandma. Always. The point is, dying might not be the lights going off. It might be the lights going on in a room you didn't know was there, which is either deeply comforting or absolutely terrifying depending on how you feel about surprise rooms and dead relatives. So let's walk through it. Moment by moment, what actually happens when you die. And fair warning, almost none of this looks like what you've seen in movies. Second 0, your heart stops. Doesn't matter why. Cardiac arrest, massive hemorrhage, pulmonary embolism, whatever. The pump fails. Blood pressure drops towards 0. And for the first second or two, you might not even notice. There's this weird delay between your heart stopping and your brain figuring out something's wrong. It's like the moment between tripping and hitting the ground. You know, something just went very bad, but you haven't quite processed it yet. Your brain still has a few seconds of oxygenated blood sitting in its vessels from before everything went sideways. You're still conscious. You're still you, for now. In the movies, this is where you'd clutch your chest and collapse dramatically. In reality, some people just look confused. Some keep talking mid-sentence and trail off. The drama comes later, the first 5 seconds. Your brain catches up. You've got these little pressure sensors in your neck called baroreceptors, and their whole job is monitoring blood flow. Right now, they're losing their minds. They register the drop and basically pull the fire alarm. Your sympathetic nervous system goes into full panic mode. Adrenaline floods your bloodstream. Your heart, if it's still capable of doing anything, tries to restart. Your blood vessels constrict, trying to shove whatever blood is left toward the only 2 organs that matter right now, your brain and your heart. Everything else gets cut off. Your fingertips go cold, your toes, your ears, they're being sacrificed. Your body just made a brutal triage decision in about 3 seconds flat. Your extremities are expendable if it means the command center stays online a little longer. It's cold, it's efficient, and nobody asked your fingers for their opinion on it. 10 to 20 seconds. This is where things start to slip. Your brain's oxygen reserves are gone. Neurons in the cerebral cortex, That's the part that handles awareness, reasoning, and basically everything that makes you you. Your vision tunnels, colors wash out, sounds get distant, like someone's slowly turning the volume down on the world. You might feel like you're floating. You might feel like you're falling. Your brain is still trying to process what's happening, but it's working with hardware that's failing in real time. It's like trying to run software on a laptop that's at 2% battery. Things start glitching. This is where near-death experiences seem to kick in. The tunnel, the light, the feeling of leaving your body. In the movies, this is shown as some peaceful, glowing, spiritual moment with soft lighting and a choir. In reality, your brain is running out of power and doing some extremely weird stuff on the way out. Here's one of the craziest things anyone's ever found about dying. When brain activity was monitored after the heart stopped, everyone expected to see everything go dark. Flatline, nothing. Instead, for about 30 seconds, the brain produced a massive surge of gamma waves. These are the fastest electrical signals your brain can produce, the ones associated with intense focus, memory, and conscious awareness. The dying brain wasn't going quiet. It was going absolutely haywire, full blast, louder than normal. And when the same thing was observed in human patients being taken off life support, 2 out of 4 showed huge spikes of activity in the exact part of the brain that handles dreaming and out-of-body experiences. The activity lasted a couple of minutes and was way higher than normal waking levels. Way higher. Those patients died, so they couldn't exactly fill out a survey about it. But something was clearly happening in there. Your brain, in its final moments, isn't fading to black like the end of a movie. It's more like it cranked the volume to 11 and then the speakers blew out. 1 to 4 minutes. Now your brain is in real trouble. When neurons get starved of oxygen, they do something kind of desperate. Normally, they communicate by releasing tiny, controlled amounts of a chemical called glutamate. Every neuron fires everything it has, all at the same time. It's like every fire alarm in a building going off at once. This flood of glutamate overexcites the neighboring neurons, which triggers a chain reaction of cell death that just rolls through the brain. Scientists call this anoxic depolarization, which is a fancy way of saying a massive power surge rolling through your brain, frying everything in its path. And here's the weird part. Some researchers think this wave is what causes the most intense near-death experiences, not because your brain is dying, but because for one brief moment, every filter and safety feature your brain normally uses to keep your experience organized just shuts off. Your brain with all the guardrails removed. What's left might be completely unregulated experience, which sounds like either the most profound thing imaginable or the scariest. Probably depends on what your unfiltered brain decides to show you. 5 to 10 minutes. If nobody's doing CPR, the brain damage is now permanent. But your body doesn't just politely stop. It does some stuff that nobody warns you about and that movies absolutely refuse to show. All your muscles relax, all of them, including the ones holding your bladder and bowels shut. So yeah, most people pee and poop when they die. Every single movie death scene where someone dies looking peaceful in white sheets is a lie. That's not how it works. That's never been how it works. Your jaw goes slack, your eyelids might half open, your skin starts going pale as blood pools in the lowest parts of your body, just gravity pulling it down. That's called livor mortis, and it starts almost immediately. Real death looks nothing like movie death. Movie death is clean and dignified. Real death is a body that doesn't have anyone running it anymore, doing whatever gravity and biology decide. But here's what's actually strange. Your cells are still alive. Not the brain cells, those are gone, but your skin cells, your bone cells, your heart muscle cells. Heart cells can actually respond to stimulation for up to 2 hours after you're clinically dead. 2 hours. You're dead, and your heart cells are still sitting there like, just tell us what to do, we're ready. Your body doesn't die all at once. It dies in pieces, organ by organ, cell by cell, over hours, sometimes days. And after death, over 1,000 genes become more active, not less, more. A lot of them related to stress response and energy production, like your cells were making one last desperate attempt to keep going. Your body, 2 days after you're dead, is still trying to fix the problem. It doesn't know it's dead. It doesn't know how to quit. It's like an employee who didn't get the memo that the company shut down and just keeps showing up to work. Now, what happens when dying goes badly? Because everything I just described is the clean version. The version where it happens fast, consciousness fades in seconds, and the body winds down without too much fuss. But dying doesn't always do you that favor. And this part, the movies actually undersell. Organ failure, for example. Liver failure, kidney failure, heart failure that gets worse over weeks. Your body falls apart in slow motion. Toxins build up in your blood because your kidneys can't filter them anymore. Fluid fills up your lungs, and every breath feels like you're drowning from the inside. You get confused, disoriented. You sleep 20 hours a day. Nobody in a movie has ever died like this, by the way. It's not cinematic enough. There's no single moment to put in the trailer. It's just weeks. Your breathing goes weird, cycling between rapid, shallow pants and then just nothing. Long stretches of nothing. That pattern has a name, Cheney-Stokes respiration. Doctors hear it, and they know. And then there's the death rattle. That wet gurgling sound when saliva pools in the back of your throat because the muscles are too weak to swallow. It sounds awful. Families say it's the worst part of the whole thing. But the person making the sound almost certainly can't feel it. They're past that. The real version takes days and it sounds terrible. And the person you love is in there somewhere but also kind of isn't. And there's nothing you can do except sit with them. That's the version most families actually experience. And no movie has ever had the guts to show it. Then there's the absolute worst version. Dying in pain, fully conscious, without enough medication to touch. There's a point where pain gets so overwhelming that the brain essentially overloads and starts shutting parts of itself down, kind of a mercy switch. But before that kicks in, there can be hours where morphine barely makes a dent. This is why palliative care exists. This is why hospice matters. Not because dying is naturally peaceful, but because without help, it often really isn't. Hollywood's version of dying in pain is a wince and a meaningful look. The real version doesn't fit in a PG-13 rating. Honestly, most of it wouldn't even make the director's cut. Let's zoom out. Dying is literally the most common human experience. More common than birth, because every single person who's ever been born has either died or will die. That's a 100% participation rate. No opt-out, no wait list. You're already enrolled. Roughly 150,000 people die every day worldwide. That's 2 people every second. While you've been watching this video, a few hundred people have died. Nobody paused the video for them. Most people say they want to die at home, in their sleep, painlessly. Most people don't get that. About 60% die in a hospital, about 30% at home. Most deaths involve some decline, some discomfort, some period where everyone in the room knows what's coming and just has to sit with it. Dying for most people is slow and human and unglamorous. No soundtrack, no final monologue, no soft lighting, just biology doing what biology does. But here's the thing that got me. After going through all the research, all the survivor accounts, all the data on what happens in those final minutes, almost nobody who came back from clinical death described it as bad. The actual moment of crossing that line, peaceful, calm. Some people said it was the most real thing they'd ever experienced. More real than waking up afterward. More real than this conversation. Whether that's your brain dumping every feel-good chemical it has as one last goodbye, or whether it's something else, nobody knows. But it's not the horror show most people expect. Movies have been scaring us about the wrong part. The dying part might actually be okay. It's everything before it that nobody wants to talk about. Like and subscribe if you liked this video. Stay safe and take your time getting here. There's no rush, and if it helps, just know that when the moment comes, your body's been rehearsing this its whole life. It just never told you about it, probably for the best.